The barking didn't stop, not after the first knock, not after the second, not even when the sirens came. Flashlights cut through the dark, sweeping across the front yard like searchlights in a prison yard. A man stood in his doorway, barefoot, hands raised, heart pounding. Behind him, a chorus of dogs howled, deep, guttural, defiant. Not one, not two, 8. Their shadows danced behind the glass, silhouettes of fur and teeth and loyalty. An officer shouted through the screen door, "Sir, control your animals, now." The man didn't move. He just stared at the flashing lights, at the neighbor peering from behind her curtain, the one who'd started it all. At the citation in the cop's hand, excessive noise, immediate compliance required. But this wasn't about noise. It hadn't been from the beginning. It was about the way she'd said, "That dog sounds like it belongs in a ghetto." It was about the way the HOA suddenly discovered noise ordinances after he moved in. It was about the way the police always arrived faster at his house than at anyone else's. And now they wanted him to silence them. But these dogs weren't just pets. They were family. They were protection. They were proof. He had done everything right. Bought the house, kept the lawn, waved at neighbors. But none of it mattered. Because no matter how quiet he lived, how clean he kept, how polite he was, to some, his presence was the real disturbance. The officer stepped forward, hand near his belt. The dogs growled. The man closed his eyes. And in that moment, the truth roared louder than any bark. Why is my peace always someone else's problem? His name was Darius Johnson, 38, black, HVAC technician, and proud homeowner in the quiet suburb of Willow Creek Estates, just outside Atlanta. He'd spent years saving, working double shifts, skipping vacations, all for a 2-bedroom ranch with a backyard big enough for a dog. And not just any dog. Buster, a 90-pound black Labrador mix rescued from a shelter, missing part of his ear, eyes full of trust. Darius had found him the same week he lost his father. The dog didn't speak, but he listened. And that was enough. Willow Creek was supposed to be fresh air, literally and figuratively. No drive-bys, no sirens, just birds, trees, and the occasional lawnmower hum. Darius loved it. He mowed on Saturdays, waved at kids on bikes, even helped Mrs. Calloway carry her groceries once. But the welcome didn't last. It started small. A sideways glance when he walked Buster past the pool. A sudden reminder about leash laws, enforced only on him. Then came the email from the HOA. Multiple complaints regarding excessive barking from 314 S Magnolia. Darius blinked. Buster barked at the mailman. That was it. He responded politely, happy to address any concerns. Please let me know specifics. No reply. Then a fine, $250. He paid it, didn't argue. But the complaints kept coming. One said Buster startled a child walking by. Another claimed the barking caused emotional distress during yoga. One even alleged the dog's aggressive breed type lowered property values. Darius had photos of Buster licking that same child's hand. He submitted them. The HOA replied, breed perception is a community standard. Perception. That word stuck like a splinter. Because this wasn't about Buster. It was about him. He remembered moving in, how 3 neighbors suddenly put up no trespassing signs. How the pool manager asked for ID twice, even though he was in a swimsuit with his receipt. How the only other black family on the block moved out after 6 months. Too much drama, they said. Now he got it. The dog was just the excuse. Because in a neighborhood where lawn gnomes were tolerated, but a black man with a loyal pet wasn't, the real violation wasn't noise, it was visibility. And Darius was done being quiet. The fines piled up, $250, then $400, then $600 for continued non-compliance. Darius appealed, cited Georgia's pet protection laws, submitted audio logs proving Buster barked less than the Thompsons' yappy Pomeranian, which partied at 2 a.m. every Friday. No response. He attended the next HOA meeting, sat in the back, clean-cut, calm, Buster's leash in his lap. The president, a retired school principal named Eleanor Price, adjusted her glasses and said, "We value all residents, but we must maintain harmony." A woman in the front row, Karen Mitchell, 58, pastel cardigan, permanent scowl, raised her hand. That dog menaces the street. It's not safe. And frankly, it's not neighborly. Darius spoke. He's never bitten anyone, never left my yard. He barks at delivery trucks, same as every dog. Silence. Then Eleanor, "We'll table this for now, but the complaints stand." He left with the fine unpaid. Then came the calls. Animal control, police, HOA security. Each time, they walked his yard, listened, wrote notes. Each time, they found nothing illegal. But the pressure didn't stop. His coworkers noticed. "You look tired, man." His sister called. "Darius, just move. It's not worth your health." But he refused, because every time he thought about leaving, he saw his father's face. A man who worked 40 years and still couldn't buy a home in a nice area. This was his father's dream, his mother's pride, his daughter's inheritance. And he wasn't going to let a bunch of people who'd never met him decide he didn't belong. So he did something they didn't expect. He went to the shelter and adopted 8 more dogs. A pit mix named Liberty, a senior hound named Soul, a 3-legged terrier named Justice, a shy German shepherd named Shield, and 5 others, all labeled hard to place, high energy, not family friendly, all black, all rescued, all his. He built a kennel, installed cameras, got noise permits for a canine wellness sanctuary. Then he emailed the HOA. "Per your records, I now have 9 dogs, all vaccinated, leashed, and legally registered. Please update your files." The response? An emergency meeting and a $5,000 fine. They called it a public nuisance. He called it retaliation, and he wasn't backing down. The night of the final hearing, the community center was packed. Fluorescent lights hummed, folding chairs creaked, cameras rolled, not just from local news, but from Darius's own live stream, Willow Creek versus the Right to Exist. He sat at the front, calm, in a dark blue button-down, his hand resting on Liberty's harness. Behind him, 8 dogs sat in a row, quiet, alert, their eyes following every movement. Karen Mitchell arrived in a lavender pantsuit, clutching a binder labeled Noise Violations Case 447. Eleanor Price stood at the podium, voice tight. "This is not just about noise," she said. "It's about culture. Our community was designed for peace, for order. This kennel disrupts that." A man in the back stood. "My dog barks at squirrels. Are you fining me?" No response. Then Karen stepped up. "I've recorded 47 barking incidents in 1 week. It's psychological warfare, and frankly, it's frightening. What if a child gets hurt?" Darius didn't flinch. He stood slowly. The room fell silent. He didn't speak. Instead, he pulled out a USB drive, plugged it into the projector, and played the recordings. Not of his dogs, of hers. Her high-pitched Yorkie, yapping for 18 minutes straight at 6:30 a.m. Her husband's leaf blower, roaring for 2 hours on a Sunday. Her own voice yelling at a delivery driver, "You don't belong here." Then he played the 911 call she made about Buster. "There's this big black dog, looks dangerous, owner never controls him." The officers reply, "We'll send a unit." No mention of danger, no bite report, no proof. Just fear, just bias, just her perception. The room was still. Then he played one final clip. His daughter's voice, age 9. "Daddy, why does that lady hate Buster? He just wants to say hi." A long silence. Then a single bark, soft from Soul, the old hound. Not angry, just present. And in that moment, Darius didn't feel rage. He felt sorrow, because this wasn't about dogs. It was about who gets to be normal, who gets to be left alone, who gets to live without being policed for existing. He looked at Karen. She wouldn't meet his eyes. The vote was called. The board voted 4-3 to uphold the fine. But as Darius walked out, dogs at his side, neighbors clapped. Not many, but enough. And for the first time, he didn't feel isolated. He felt seen. He didn't pay the fine. Instead, he sued for racial discrimination, emotional distress, and violation of housing rights. The case gained national attention. The dog case that exposed suburban bias. 6 months later, the HOA settled, dropped the fine, issued a vague community reflection statement, and quietly removed Karen from the complaints committee. Darius didn't win a fortune, but he won something bigger. Peace. The dogs stayed. The barking didn't stop, but the calls did, and slowly the neighborhood changed. Kids visited to pet Liberty. An elderly neighbor asked Darius to fix her AC. Someone left a welcome treat basket for the newest rescue, a shy black mutt named Freedom. He still gets stares, but now he also gets waves. He never moved, and he never silenced his dogs. Because sometimes the loudest act of resistance isn't a protest. It's a bark. It's staying. It's refusing to shrink. Today, Darius runs a nonprofit, Paws and Pride, helping black families adopt pets and fight housing discrimination. His yard? Still full of dogs. Still loud. Still free. So what's the lesson? That racism doesn't always wear a hood. Sometimes it wears a cardigan, and sometimes the best way to fight it isn't with silence. It's with noise. If this story opened your eyes, like, subscribe and share. Silence helps no one. But speaking up, that can change a neighborhood.